the Ruger LC Carbine. So, I know a lot of you guys are familiar with the Ruger 5.7. Well, meet its big brother, the LC Carbine, which is also chambered in 5.7. Apparently, Ruger has really taken a liking to the 5.7 round, so much so that they decided to build a whole rifle around it. But let's quickly talk about what this is. So essentially, it's a rifle that shoots 5.7. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was kind of like, what is that? Largely because my mind is so used to seeing a magazine well here. And you don't get that here. The gun looks kind of simplistic, really simple. Like it just looks like a stick with a pistol grip. But if you really think about it, it kind of makes sense. They basically, I mean, this is essentially the same pistol grip from the pistol, and then take that, give it a longer barrel, put a stock on it, give it some sights, a little side charger, and you have a rifle. So it is kind of really that simple. Now, the one thing I did notice, or the one thing that I was looking forward to when I first saw this, was how easy it was gonna be to shoot, because it is a 5.7. Being a 5.7, it already recoiled light on the handgun, so I imagine this is gonna be a dream to shoot in the rifle. I was right.
Before you finish watching this video, a word from our sponsor. Have you ever thought about making a living in the firearms industry? If you enjoy gun repair, ballistics, and learning about firearms, Sonoran Desert Institute's online courses might just be a good fit for you. To find out more, visit sdi.edu or call 480-999-4767 today.
Let's go from back to front real quick. So we have this adjustable stock here, which honestly looks like a Transformer's leg. It also collapses here. This button collapses, and you can actually change it. If you want it to collapse to this side versus this side, you can do that. The first time I collapsed this stock, I spent like 9 hours trying to figure out how to get it to actually open back up. And the way you do that is you just kind of lift and it opens back up. It took me quite a while to figure that out. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah. So, of course, you get your you get some plastic Ruger sights, which they're plastic, and I know when I say that it sounds like cheapish, but they're actually pretty good. I do wish they had a bigger witness hole in the rear sight, but other than that, they do great. Slide them down flat, they pop right up, good to go. Also, you have a safety lever, ambidextrous safety on both sides, which is actually really easy to engage. Just want to come over here on this other side, Peter. It's really easy to engage. Just flip up, flip down. It's very intuitive. It's on both sides. And of course, you got your slide lock. Lock the slide there. And then when you want to drop it, you just drop it just like that. Now, this side charge, I can see people being like, ugh. Reciprocating side charger. Well, it's not, it doesn't reciprocate actually. It's non-reciprocating, and you can flip it to the other side. On top of that, you have your magazine release, which I actually really like. The only knock I'm gonna give the magazine release is I wish it was ambidextrous. But other than that, it's actually really kind of fun to use actually. It's really satisfying. And it just drops. And just something about this lever, I really enjoy doing it. All right, so let's talk about this trigger. So this trigger is essentially the same trigger that's on the handgun. And I like this trigger. I like this trigger because it's really clean and it's really smooth. Not the fastest trigger in the world. Like, I'm not gonna just be running this thing like a lunatic, considering, but if you look here, you get this nice take up. So rather short take up. And then you get this really nice clean break. Take up, break. Take up, break. Take up, break. This gun doesn't recoil. This doesn't recoil. So it makes me think, because I've been floating in my mind, who's this gun for? Who's it for? And when I do my more exhaustive video on this, I'll probably get into that in depth, but I feel like this is a gun for somebody who's very recoil sensitive. Someone who doesn't really like recoil a lot, but wants a gun that at least has the ability to be a good defense round, considering. Of course, there are gonna be people in the comments who are like, well, the 5.7 is not that great of a defense round. Compared to a 22, it is. So yeah, so I can see someone who has the 5.7 handgun and it's like, okay, I want a rifle for home. And the gun is really, really, really light. So it doesn't, you know, it's very easy to just go from target to target. You can wield it around, not have to worry about it, worry about weight, while also not recoiling very much. So somebody who's kind of recoil averse, I can see them really falling in love with this gun. The only problem is 5.7 round is expensive as hell. It's expensive. So, I mean, if you got the dough, hell, run it. If you don't, this might be a little problematic. This is one of those weird situations where the round is considerably more expensive than the gun, comparatively, relatively speaking. I'm not saying the actual ammo costs more than the gun, but considering how much other ammo costs versus 5.7 ammo, and how much this costs versus how much this costs versus other guns in this category, yeah, it's gonna be a lot cheaper, which is great because it allows for an easier entry into basically what is a kind of unique and exotic round almost. Of course, you have the M-LOK rail space here, and then of course you got the threaded barrel as well, so if you wanted to suppress it, you can suppress it. So, the beautiful thing about this LC carbine is that it's actually really, really light. Even though it's a 16-inch barrel, you got this M-LOK rail system here, and then you have a threaded barrel here as well. The gun's actually really light. And the beautiful thing about that is it allows you to really kind of just sit on target and just go next one as fast as you want. And it doesn't become cumbersome. Somebody who's intimidated by recoil also will get a light gun and a gun that recoils really light, which you usually don't get that. You always have to, typically you tend to have a trade-off. Either the gun's heavy, but it recoils light, or it recoils light, but the gun's heavy. So, wait, did I say that right? No, so either the gun is heavy, but it recoils light, or the gun is light, but it's recoil heavy. Yeah, whatever. But, you know, that being said, the gun actually feels pretty damn high quality in my hands. Visually, when I first saw it, because of this it just kind of seems unbalanced visually, because you got this long space here where my mind visually wants to have like a magwell here, but it doesn't. So initially I look at it and it kind of gives me high point carbine vibes. But in hand, when you see it in person, it's definitely way more high quality than that high point carbine. And I think also shoots a much sexier round. So from a recoil perspective, it's straight back. And it's almost not even worth mentioning because it doesn't really exist. I mean, you kind of become rather lackadaisical with it because you can do stuff like this. I could just one hand, like how many rifles do you know that you can do that with? Especially one with a 16-inch barrel. I think this is a very, very, very interesting gun from the perspective that it has this essence about it that makes you want to trick it out. Like I just want to take, like when I do the follow-up video on this, I'm gonna have this thing decked out because it just lends itself to it, quite frankly. I don't know what it is about it, but it makes for a great kind of base palette to just do whatever I want to it. You have enough rail space, hell, I might put an LPVO on this, LVO on this thing and run a 1-6 or a 1-4 or something stupid like that. But it's one of those guns that I think kind of evokes creativity in the way that you set this platform up. Like I expect to see a lot of people on social media doing weird, wonky stuff, setting it up wise with this. But it is an incredibly fun gun to shoot. It's one of those guns that you look forward to shooting because you know it's not gonna beat you to death. And you're gonna have a good time with it. Now, when you go buy the ammo, you're probably not because it's the money. But other than that, if there was a way that we could just make 5.7 more affordable, and honestly, because companies keep coming out with different guns chambered in this caliber, like Ruger, more than likely the prices might start to come down because there are more platforms for it. There is something I have to complain about, and it's these. In a handgun, 20-round magazines with 5.7 makes all the sense in the world. It's perfect, it's awesome. However, I think we could have done with maybe an extended magazine, like 30-rounder, something like that, you know? And then you only get one of these 20-round magazines. At least give me like a 20-round and then a 30-rounder or something like that. Or make the grip a little bit bigger and so they could house more rounds. I don't know. I just feel like this gun kind of deserves a higher round count than the 20 rounds that it comes with. And I get it, uniformity makes it easier to produce the gun, so forth and so forth, so on, yada, 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 yada. But I'm gonna go online and try to find me some extended mags because this gun is too easy to shoot and it makes it too easy for me to run through rounds. You just run through rounds with this gun. It's not like you're shooting a 308. You shoot a 308, you shoot a magazine, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that again over and over and over again. This over and over and over and over again, you just want da, 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 da. That's all you do all day long. So that's me getting off my soapbox. At the end of the day, the LC Carbine for me is going to be one of those guns that I'm going to really enjoy kind of tricking out to my taste factor. Don't really know exactly what I want to do with it yet, but I have an idea. And then when I come back and kind of do a more in-depth review on this gun, yeah, much like I said about my Benelli M4, it ain't gonna look like this very long.
You know, we talk a lot about empowerment in this country, except for when it comes to the Second Amendment. However, I can't think of anything more empowering than having the most effective tool to protect you and your family. So help me spread this message by liking and sharing this video with everyone you know. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, because the Second Amendment, when it said militia, it wasn't talking about the government. It was talking about you. Also, if you want to know where to find the I'm the Militia shirt and merchandise, click the I'm the Militia link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, make sure you hit that bell symbol.